I am Rick Miller. I'm the creator of the BOOM Trilogy, and we're here for part 3, Boom YZ. Boom YZ is 1996 to 2020, 100 voices, the music, culture, politics, seen through a very personal lens of my daughter's story, but it's a big, explosive show, and it has 3 different endings that the audience votes on with their phones. WCT is the first theater company around the world to have presented each of the shows in consecutive seasons, and that's really cool for me because you sort of build on an experience and you get the same people coming and remembering something, and then they interact with me in a talk back after. So it really feels like this 3-year conversation we've had that started, I remember the day when Russia invaded Ukraine. It was 2 years ago. We were doing Boom, and now look where we are. And so it really feels like it's an active, living, breathing thing that we have going on here in Kamloops, and I'm just so happy to be part of it. You don't need to have seen Boom or Boom X to see Boom YZ. I think it's a great show to come with different members of your family, either your kids or your parents. It's a great show to see with different generations, and it's not a prerequisite because it sort of stands on its own. This show has a huge lighting, sound, and video spectacle. I think that makes it, just even building on the other shows, even bigger. Boom was very much about circles, spinning, records. Boom X was about these jagged edges where I was running around like a little kid. This is a show where I'm literally sitting, flying, falling. It has a lot of movement up and down, which to me represents the kind of weightlessness of the internet, but also some of the gravity of what we're feeling today. I'm a middle-aged guy in this show, and it shows through the kind of approach to it, the humility that one faces as you get older, and also the pride you feel, and a bit of the worry you feel as a parent.
Let's ask why. Bruno, Y2K, any thoughts?
I have this segment called Let's Ask Why, where I talk to 12 different millennials about different facets, from their perspective on a certain way of thinking to their views on technology and money and parenting. And I think it's important because we all have these different perspectives based on when we're born and what our cohort is. Music is key, and for a baby boomer, when they had their sort of sweet spot as a teenager, it was the 60s. For me, it was the 80s. For young people, it was the 2000s or 2010s in the case of my kids. So I try to represent that without, pretending that I am these people. I have to still bring those songs forward because that is a key part of the emotional joy of this show, is connecting to the music. So even if it wasn't your favorite song, even if you weren't a teenager, you'll recognize almost every song in here. At intermission, we project these 3 different videos and a QR code where audiences can just go to, on their phone, they can watch the 3 videos, basically selling each ending, and then they choose and they vote. And then at the end of the show, my stage manager, Craig, the curtain rises up and I see what ending the audience has chosen. So it really is something that the audience kind of gets to talk about and actively do throughout intermission.
The choice is yours.
It's a fun technological trick that we play, but it's actually, to me, comments on the fact that we do have agency in choosing our future. And there's a future that's sort of more dystopian, one that's more utopian, and one that's a little more about, let's carry on this road that we're on and see what happens. And I have my preferences, but I have no idea what is going to happen to me. So in some ways, it's a humbling experience to let go of the control that I've had for the entire show and let the audience actually control what's going to happen. And to me, it's important that we remember that we can control these things and that we feel a bit powerless, but we have some power. My favorite moment in the show is when I actually shut up and listen to my daughter talk at the end of it, because I've been doing her voice for the whole play, and it really feels like it's an emotional connection where time to move on, pass it on to the next generation, send the elevator down or up or whatever the expression is, but it feels like it's her show and she ends it in a way. I love that. I feel changed by specifically this show because, in a way, like I've said, it's a passing on of the torch to another generation, but also these existential fears that we now feel that seem very real at the time. We're at a moment where we feel like the world order we've had for a long time is very fragile. And the humility I feel is actually something I wish more people felt, this sense that we have to listen more to other people. And so this show and the experience of it is me sort of shutting up for a little bit and listening. And I feel we could do a little bit more of that as opposed to us just, yelling and being in a state of outrage constantly.
Whoa.
Come see Boom YZ, Part 3 of the Boom Trilogy at the Sagebrush Theatre until March 2nd.